I'm alive. I'm alive, but I'm alive, I promise. You got that raspy thing going on. Alright. That was working. Yep. It's almost dead. Oh, it's okay. And here we go in three, two, one. Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, March 11th, 2020. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Well, I feel fine. It's when I get the cold or a cold, it follows a pretty similar pattern. So I got about 2 days where I don't feel so well. You know, maybe I get a runny nose. Maybe I need to sleep a lot. And then after that, I start to feel better. Last night I started to feel better. And then physically, I'm fine from there. My energy's fine. I'm probably running 90, 95%. But the congestion shifts and my throat gets scratchy, and I start doing my best impression of I don't know, somebody with a scratchy voice. So here we are. I'm okay. Feel better. I sound worse, but I'm not. So there you go. I hope everybody had a great Tuesday. I got a little bit of work done. Did record a podcast interview. I was home all day. Did not leave the house. And in fact, not leaving the house today until probably 2, 3 o'clock. So we'll be very restless by the time I leave the house. And I didn't do a lot. Watched a lot of Netflix. I did keep up with email, the really important stuff. There was some customer service I dealt with. Lots of social media, most of it personal. Did a little bit of planning, which honestly is something that I don't get a chance to do too often. Ordered some product for Amazon. Just tried to do what I could, you know. It's it's an interesting place to be, to know that your brain's not working right. I know I should be able to wrap my mind around that, and I can't because I'm running it, 70 or 80%. Yesterday, honestly, I think there were points I was at 50. I couldn't think well yesterday, which made yesterday's interview really challenging. But I think it came out okay. Guests seem to be okay with it, and I guess we'll know when it goes live. Now, speaking of interviews, Gabe left a comment that I'm going to respond to, and since when people leave comments, I like to read them. Let's bring this up and let's read it. Let's drink more coffee. Feel free to disregard if you don't want to discuss this here. If one of the goals of Whistlekick is to unite the martial arts, why bring someone on the show who is likely to cause controversy? Now, given the timing, I am assuming that that is in response to Monday's episode. Monday's episode with Misael Lopez Cardozo was initiated well over a month ago, 6, 8 weeks ago. And of course, not of course, and on the day that we post it, Monday, a couple hours later, somebody brings to my attention that there is some controversy around Mr. Cardozo and some accusations of inappropriate conduct with others. That started internal discussion of whether or not that episode should stand, how, if at all, we should get involved, etc. And to me, it was a very easy decision. We let the episode stand. We are not going to take positions. Stories, and see, I went through all this when we posted an interview over on Marshall Journal, a written interview that I did with another controversial figure, Bodie Sanders. The difference was I knew Bodie Sanders was a controversial figure. And that's why I wanted to conduct the interview in writing, so that there was absolutely no question about what he said, what I said, what I asked. And there was some blowback from it. And the blowback was severe, and it was very localized, and it burned out very quickly. But through that, there was a lot of internal conversation about what Marshall Journal is and what it stands for. And through that discussion, I came to have a lot of opportunity to think about what was important to me with whistlekick and how I viewed various aspects of what we do. So here's the short of it. Martial Arts Radio is a podcast where we tell stories. Those stories are from different people, from different arts, from different places in the world. We have not and will not validate anyone's stories for truth. We've had plenty of people on the show who I've received messages about saying, that person's a liar. Stories aren't always true. I don't believe the stories of everyone who has been on the show. We have had people on the show whom I now do not think as highly of. Not because of their appearance on the show, but because of things I have come to learn after. No, I'm not going to say who those people are. But I refuse to be revisionist in what we put out. What we put out was a good decision at the time we put it out. In this instance, Mr. Cardozo's episode was a good episode to conduct and post, and whether or not we would have done things differently had we known is irrelevant, because we didn't. And I'm not going to get bogged down in hypotheticals. I have some personal views on the way people are brought on trial in public media these days. But I'm working really hard to make sure that my personal opinions with those, due to some things I personally experienced years ago, I'm trying not to let that influence how we do business. I think it is best for Martial Arts Radio to remain neutral on all things, because then it's just simpler that way. When we put out an episode with someone, it's their story. I don't bring up controversial elements when they come on the show. When George Dillman came on the show, he was the first one to bring up the controversy around his history. Once he opened the door, it was fair game to discuss. If Mr. Cardozo had brought up these accusations against him, we would have discussed them. If I had known about them, well, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to play hypotheticals. I'm getting too far off. So, that was a little more long-winded than I wanted it to be. I want martial arts radio to be for everyone. And the moment we start taking sides in anything, on any issue, it will stop being that. If you don't like the episode with somebody, don't listen to it. But we will continue to bring on the cross-section of martial artists that we always have, which is, in effect, random. It includes everyday martial artists. It includes prominent martial artists. It's men, it's women, it's from people all over the world. It's people that we think have good stories that will be inspirational, educational, entertaining, or combinations thereof. Moving on. I made myself some tea last night. Basically took a bunch of herbs I had laying around, some chaga and some mint, and boiled them for a while and drank it and felt amazing. Felt really good last night. So there's one glass of that left sitting in the fridge that I may have later. All right. Now questions. Other questions. We got more questions. If you want to ask them, you drop them below, and then I answer them. And Frank, glad you're sending me these on Messenger, because once again, they're not showing up on YouTube. It's weird. All right, here we go. Oh yeah. Okay. So we've got 4 quotes from Mother Teresa. I think I've shared this anecdote, but just in case I haven't, or you haven't heard it, I'm going to share it. Shortest version of the story. I once knew someone who, through her professional work, had become acquainted with Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa had gifted her a rosary. I would have had a hard time believing that it was real had I not spent some time with this person. You know, sometimes you meet someone and just crazy big things happen to them. This was one of those people. When I was around her, she would allow me to hold the rosary. It was hot. I don't mean it was warm because it was on her body. I mean, it was hot. Always. Your true character is most accurately measured by how you treat those who can do nothing, nothing, in quotes, for you. Oh. Your true character your true character is most accurately measured by those. All right, let's try one more time. Your true character is most accurately measured by how you treat those who can do nothing for you. Yes. And she made a life out of this. To say this another way, how does service impact your life? What are you doing to give back? Or to give, to pass on, to pay it forward? In the moment that you're doing it when there's nothing expected or even possible in return, the better. One of the things that frustrates me the most is when someone gets mad if they give you a gift and you don't make a big deal out of it, when you don't send them a thank you note, for example. It wasn't a gift then, it was a trade. You traded me this thing for a thank you note. A gift, to be a true gift, doesn't requires there not to be an expectation of something in return. To exchange gifts is really a trade. Let's trade gifts. And the word gift is still a misnomer there. Life is an opportunity. Benefit from it. Life is beauty. Admire it. Life is a dream. Realize it. Life is a challenge. Meet it. Life is a duty. Complete it. Life is a game. Play it. Life is a promise. Fulfill it. Life is sorrow. Overcome it. Life is a song. Sing it. Life is a struggle. Accept it. Life is a tragedy. Confront it. Life is an adventure. Dare it. Life is luck. Make it. Life is too precious. Do not destroy it. Life is life. Fight for it. I think the greatest philosophical question that we will likely never answer authoritatively is, what's the purpose of life or meaning of life or whatever you want to call it? I think it's all of those things. It's that you face it. You embrace life and all it has to offer. And you play and sing and love and learn and face challenge and overcome obstacles. If life is an opportunity, then the purpose of life is to maximize that opportunity in whatever way seems fit. One of the tests that I use for myself when I'm debating how to handle something is fast forward, I'm however many years old and I'm on my deathbed after a long life. Which choice will I have rather made? And it's amazing how easily that makes me choose. That was a weird sentence. It's amazing how clear things become when I look at them that way. Should you go off and start your own business, or should you work at a career that you hate for the next 30 years? Well, what does 95-year-old you say? Do what that person says. Often we kick the can down the road on handling certain things. I'll let future Jeremy deal with that. Well, if you're going to do that, that's fine. But take some advice from future you. What do they think you should do? 304. There is much suffering in the world, physical, material, mental. The suffering of some can be blamed on the greed of others. The material and physical suffering is suffering from hunger, from homelessness, from all kinds of diseases. But the greatest suffering is being lonely, feeling unloved, having no one. I have come more and more to realize that it is being unwanted that is the worst disease that any human being can ever experience. I think we all experience times of loneliness and feeling unwanted, unvalued. Being taken for granted is probably my least favorite experience. But what's funny is, despite it being a universal experience, it still continues. Well, why? Because there are people out there who understand what that feels like and yet continue to treat some that way. So how do you combat that? Well, the rest of us need to show that love and compassion and value and appreciation to those around us. There's a little bit of foreshadowing on your homework. It does not take much time or effort, and it is free for you to tell people that they mean something to you. It can be a phone call, it can be a text, it can be an email, it can be a post-it note. To tell someone they mean something to you, whether it's romantically, whether it's family, whether it's a friend, even if it's a colleague, hey, this job would be a lot harder if you weren't here. I appreciate your expertise. Those things sound corny. They seem insignificant. And yet, remember the last time you had something like that? You received that. Someone told you that they valued you, they appreciated you, that you meant something to them. It can change the day, it can change the week. It can save someone's life. Never underestimate the power of appreciating and valuing others. And here, number 4, we have the quote that she's probably most famous for. None of us, including me, ever do great things. None of us, including me, ever do great things. But we can all do small things with great love. And together, we can do something wonderful. Yeah. It's a good illustration of my thoughts on the quote before. When you tell someone that you appreciate them with love, in whatever variety of love that means, they feel that. When I'm not sure how to act, and I'm fairly certain we've talked about this on the show too, it's probably been a while. I believe there are 2 motivating forces in the universe: love and fear. Hate is fear. Anxiety is fear. Laziness is fear. If I have a decision of what to do or how to do it, I will often look for what decision comes out of love, what decision comes out of fear. And once I see that, once I can clearly articulate where the love is and where the fear is, my decisions become easy, or rather simple. Always choose love. Love for yourself, love for the people around you, love for the people you'll never meet. Now, more than ever, we need to remember what it's like to express and receive love. And yes, that word has been so downtrodden as to be made corny, which is a shame. Let's connect all these dots. If I look for the decision out of love and the decision out of fear, if we were to go back and take down that episode from Monday, that would 100% be out of fear. Fear of reprisal, fear of judgment. Could that episode have been conducted differently or under different circumstances with knowledge that would have been loving versus fearful? Yes. Yeah. There are always ways you can change things in the past. But what about right now? What about in this moment? What if I didn't get up to do this show? Still feeling under the weather. Coming to do this show was the decision out of love because I've made an obligation and I care about honoring that obligation to people, to myself, to whistlekick. Staying in bed would have been a decision based out of fear that I might not come out of this illness as quickly. Fear that doing the show might set back my recovery. You could have the same decision in front of you, and the love and fear matrix could be completely different. That's okay. So, it's Wednesday. Go have an absolutely fantastic day. Make choices out of love. Try not to make choices out of fear. Tell the people around you that they mean something to you. All of you watching mean something to me. If it were not for you, I would not do this show, and that would make me sad. So your homework today is to reach out to one person in whatever way and let them know that they are appreciated, they are valued, they are loved, whatever you want to say. Just make sure they know it. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. For those of you who may be new to the show, you can subscribe and turn on notifications because we do this show every weekday morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern here on YouTube, Monday through Friday. It's all over the place. You can catch it later at firstcupofjeremy.com or in your podcast feed. If you have a question or a comment you'd like me to respond to, drop it below, and I will respond to it tomorrow, which is Thursday. What else do I want to tell you? If you want to support the show, patreon.com/whistlekick. I put up a new post over there yesterday, hoping to do the video today because I'm feeling better. My brain actually works. The video and audio episodes that we do exclusive for Patreon contributors. Two other easy ways to support us. Make a purchase at whistlekick.com. Use the code FIRSTCUP15 for 15% off, or just tell somebody about what we're doing. All of our goals here at Whistlekick to grow and spread the martial arts. Have a good day. I'll see you back here tomorrow.